Welcome to the bottom of the well, and that's all the energy I've got.
That's all.
Got for today. This is going to be maybe a bit of a chiller session.
Well, that's fine. Like, I feel like the sounds would echo down here. We're probably tired a lot as well down here. You can't exactly get a lot of exercise.
Yeah, I've had a stressful week. There's been leeches. Someone dropped in some leeches, and they just gravitated straight towards me.
Yes. Apparently, I've been entirely free of them.
Yeah, but you're still tired for other reasons as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
you've been tired watching. It's like, oh, that's exhausting. Oh.
Like, yeah. Well, you're just moving around all the time. It's weird. It stresses me out.
This is a video game podcast.
In theory.
I'm Burrhe. I'm joined by Newbs.
Hi, I'm Newbs.
Okay. Would you like to talk about some games?
I would love to. What would you like to talk about first?
I'm itching to hear about Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Oh,
and you have it on your list.
Yes.
Go for it.
Well, so I think I figured out how I can stretch this segment out, because this is 3 games that, I feel like a lot of people have played. Mm-hmm. I feel like just about everybody has played 2 of them, let's say. But anyways, I figure, why don't I do a quick little trip down memory lane here, and we can reminisce about the Nintendo Direct, where this was announced, and somehow just 2.5 weeks later, the game's then released.
I thought time has no meaning.
Well, yeah, that's true at the bottom of the well. But I think time has no meaning for Nintendo either, apparently. Like remember when they used to, granted, they used to get in trouble where they would announce games way too early, right? Mm-hmm. And they still do that sometimes, like Metroid Prime 4 or whatever they're calling it is like, is that ever going to happen? Breath of the Wild 2 is like, waiting. But now apparently they also announce games and then release them 2 weeks later.
That's what they've been doing this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, especially this year. Granted, maybe they just feel like with COVID and stuff, they don't want to overpromise. If there's development gets slowed down, I'm sure there's probably manufacturing issues.
And then like the devs just go, all right, we're ready. You can announce it now. It's like, okay, it's out in 2 weeks. Go.
Yeah. So
that happened with Paper Mario, didn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that was very short too. I think, so at the Nintendo Direct, big 35th anniversary Mario, Direct, of course, which is crazy. Makes me feel old.
Everyone's expecting a lot of, like a big announcement.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because the 3D All-Stars collection was rumored for so long, like that was the biggest news of it all, but also everybody already knew, so they were like, okay, yep, we know. At least we didn't have to wait very long. There's the 3D World port, which is cool. That feels very predictable, considering it seems like every Wii U game is eventually going to come to Switch, but it's nice to get that as well. And whatever Bowser's Fury is.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a sec? Because
what is this?
I'm assuming, because as owners of Wii U, both of us, and I'm assuming having played through the 3D world, I don't really feel like buying the whole game again just for the DLC, even if it's on the Switch.
But this was not. This was not DLC on the Wii U, was it?
No. It's kind of
it
screwing over us and other people who bought the Wii U and that game.
Right, yeah.
It's like, why... Like, it's benefiting people who just, like, ignored the Wii U and waited.
Well, the whole Switch is like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So much of the Switch's library is just a do-over of Wii U.
Yeah, I know.
And, like, the games that do get sequels, like more direct sequels, it really feels like... I don't know, they're not exactly ambitious sequels, right? It's like, let's take what we did in Splatoon 1 or Mario Maker 1 and just kind of do the obvious with it.
Yeah, true. But with that in mind, it's just, here's the next iteration on that, and they do iterate on it. Like Splatoon was definitely an iteration, but it was just, I guess, more of the same for the people who loved it on the Wii U. Gave them enough new stuff, and also had the massive audience that the Switch has. Just to boost that even more. But with things like the 3D World, it's the same game. That's why I haven't bought
it's literally a port.
Mario Kart as well. It's like I've already played the Mario Kart.
Yeah, and that one, I mean, I had already bought the DLC too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think they added in the multiplayer that was virtually non-existent or totally half-assed in the original. So in a way, that would have been DLC or even a free update if the Wii U had been more successful, I feel.
Exactly. It's a bit of a weird one, because it feels like they're either just straight up screwing over or trying to fleece their more dedicated fan base for more money.
Yeah. Well, they know we'll buy it twice, or at least I will.
But that's,
to be honest, though, at this point,
though.
like...
We haven't. That's the thing.
I
don't plan on buying 3D
You're not
World.
buying these? No. I've generally been buying the ports. This is going to sound insane, but because I don't feel like hooking up my Wii U or keeping it hooked up.
True.
And it's just like, if I really want to play this game again, I'm just going to get the Switch version. Like, it's just always going to be nicer to play on Switch. Even if it's the identical game, identical graphics. And the Switch, granted, it does have the portability benefit.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Like, I can see I would be happy to pay for a little bit of money for the kind of portability and resolution upgrade that the Switch would offer. But just to pay, what is it, like a full, in the US at least, like a full $60 game again? Like, I'm not paying full price again for the same game that I already 100%ed that game just for whatever this Bowser's Fury is going to be. And the same for again, Mario Kart. Like, I had my fill of that. I don't think I'm going to go back to that. So I'm not just going to...
Yeah, with Mario Kart 8, yeah.
Little rant over.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. I was going to say, Nintendo... other companies, they do ports and, like definitive editions and, we put the last 3 games into one package, but they always release them for cheaper, and Nintendo always releases them for full price.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they get away with it, but...
It's one of the reasons I haven't picked up this 3D All-Stars yet.
Oh, okay.
And also the fact that I know that I could either play them on other things, which I won't go into, for just as good a quality and maybe even more convenience, other than the fact that I can't do it portably. That's the only reason I'd buy this, is for the portability. And things like Galaxy, is that going to work? Does that work well on portable? Have you tried it, for example? You can talk about it in a second.
You know what? I haven't actually talked about the games yet. I've only played it on the TV so far.
But it's things like that. Like, that's the only benefit that this pack would give to me personally, is being able to play it portable. And is the price tag worth that for me? And I'm not sure it is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm curious what you think about this Game & Watch. So it's made to look identical to an old school Game & Watch, but it runs the original Super Mario Bros., which is... Kudos to Nintendo for inventing yet another way to get me to buy the original Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, it looks fun. It just looks fun. I'd get it if it was in passing, and maybe I'd ask for it for Christmas. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
If you're looking for a gift, get me that.
It's clearly one of these things. They seem to have finally figured out that they can release things towards the end of the year other than a big game and just slot it into that gift price point.
Yeah.
I am a little... I mean, it's really... I have to get it, of course. Not that I need to play the game, it just looks cool. But...
It does look good.
Yeah, just as a collectible, I have to get it. Yeah. But, I do wish, as far as the classics line, NES and SNES, the mini systems, the classic systems, I do wish they had done a Game Boy. And I kind of feel like I hope this isn't in place of that.
That would do so well.
Yeah.
Like a Game Boy thing, but with a bigger screen as well built into it.
Yeah, just
maybe
a nice modern screen.
Like a plug-and-play thing as well. Maybe you could like hook it up to the TV as well.
I mean, don't give them too much credit. They're not going to do that.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I know. But I think just like a Game Boy Classic, well, all the classic Game Boy games with modern screen, modern ergonomics, let's say, something that's not a brick, that would be so cool. I hope they eventually do that.
So what would be in it then? What would you put in it? Because I immediately put in the Mario Land and Mario Land 2 Golden Coins. That's definitely going to be there.
Well, so I actually gaming-wise, I started with the Game Boy. And
similar here.
Yeah, so of course it came with Tetris. And, if they can get the rights, absolutely Tetris. But then...
and no Game Boy library would be complete without a Tetris in there. Even though I would like insane. Barely... I'd play it like once. Get to like a certain level where my brain stops working with it. And then lose and then never touch it again. It wouldn't be complete without it.
Game Boy Tetris, it's weird to go back to because it's so... I play a lot of Tetris, by the way. And they've added so much stuff to Tetris since then, right? Where you can hold pieces and like infinite rotate and all of this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. That it's so hard to go back to that, even though that's what I started with and grew up with and played incessantly for years. Anyways, so I got the Game Boy for my birthday, and then that Christmas I got Tetris 2, which sucked.
What?
Tetris 2 is not a good game. There's so many of these Tetris games that are not really Tetris. They just somehow have the rights to the name Tetris, and then they just make their own puzzle game. That's essentially what it was.
Oh, God.
But there's Donkey Kong. I think people call it Donkey Kong 94.
Okay.
It's kind of like a throwback to the original arcade Donkey Kong.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
It's more like a puzzle. Eventually the series turned into is it Mario versus Donkey Kong?
Oh,
games,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. It eventually kind of evolved into that. And then, but the real champion that Christmas was Wario Land, which is kind of the third game in the Mario Land series.
Yeah, I really like that.
I love that. That is a spectacular game. And things got weird after that because they started doing the Wario Land games. But I feel like the original Wario Land is this perfect in-between of a Mario game and the later Wario games. Where the later Wario games turned into, I don't know, they're like more puzzly. They have really big levels that you explore and you have to find treasures. Whereas this is more a straightforward Mario-style platformer. But
with like twists on, like...
Yeah.
You charge at the enemy and bash them and things.
Sorry, making water bottle noises. And it's all about collecting the coins, and then there's other treasures you can find as well. So there's even things like there's a weird twist where I think you have to pay 10 coins to use like the midway save point in a level.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, because it's all about how much money can you amass. Anyways, boy, we are off topic. I forgot what we were even talking about. What else would we put in a Game Boy
so
Classic?
I would love... I think it was originally an NES game, but they had a Game Boy port. I'm looking at the Wikipedia because I knew it just called Mario and Yoshi. And I think elsewhere, in the Americas, it was just called Yoshi or Yoshi.
Yeah, it's just called Yoshi.
But it's a puzzle game. Have you ever seen this thing? And you just like your Mario rotating the plates around, and you have to
I have this game.
I played that so much when I was growing up on my Game Boy. I played it a lot. That was a good puzzle game.
I think I played it as an adult and went, "This sucks."
It was just
like there's nothing to this.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that you just have to go for high scores, and it like hit my, I guess for you it would be the Tetris itch, but for me, I could get more behind this. Like it's a lot more straightforward in terms of that, and like
that's one of those ones they could very easily throw in.
Filling up car journeys and things like that. I remember playing this a lot.
Oh yeah.
That was another puzzle
That was what the Game Boy was all about, long drives, sitting in the back seat.
There was another Yoshi puzzle game on the Game Boy.
Well, there's Yoshi's Cookie, isn't there?
Yeah, but it wasn't that. Oh, what was it called? It was like a Connect 4, Connect 4, Connect 3 kind of game.
Yeah, it's like Planet Puzzle League or what style, or what's that? Pokemon Puzzle League style gameplay, I think, right?
Yeah, but that was it's gonna kill me how I can't remember this. I'm gonna remember it in my sleep later.
Yeah, we're gonna have to risk some typing noises while we look this up. Okay. Yoshi's Cookie. I'm pretty sure that's it.
But it wasn't that one. I know that exists.
No? You're saying there's a third Yoshi puzzle game?
Yeah. It could have been Tetris Attack. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is that.
It is
that
Tetris
Pokemon
Attack.
Puzzle League.
Yeah,
okay.
it is. Okay. But there was a Game Boy one of it. Of Tetris Attack. And it had all the Yoshi story characters.
Yoshi story characters, I see.
Yeah.
I was like, what story is there in Yoshi? But then I realized that's the name of a game.
But it's a Connect 4 thing, right?
Yeah.
So there was a puzzle mode to this where you had to like go through a series of levels, and it gave you a certain number of moves that the level could be completely cleared in.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the puzzle, and we spent so many hours, again, car journeys, figuring out.
I don't think I ever played this on Game Boy, but I played a lot of it on Super Nintendo. It's really good. Yeah, and I love those puzzles as well that you're talking about, because there is like an infinite mode or more standard mode, but the puzzles are really. I love when puzzle games add those kinds of alternate modes, because I feel like it doesn't take much to think of interesting, just different modes for these kind of games that developers often just don't bother with. But yeah, that's a good one. Game Boy. I'm trying to think of what else I agree. Obviously Pokemon, but I don't think they would actually do that because they want people to play Pokemon somewhere that people can transfer their Pokemon into newer games, right?
Didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Where they were like, we're not going to do it unless we can have people move their Pokemon into the modern games.
Yeah, I don't think people would really want it on that as well if there wasn't that option. Yeah,
I agree. So maybe it's weird to say, like this is going to be I don't know if I should say this out loud, but sometimes I thought about like, well, what games would I put in definitive 50 Game Boy games? And it was always like Tetris versus Pokemon, because the Game Boy kind of had two lifespans, right? It had the normal console lifespan starting with Tetris, and then it had this like crazy rebirth with Pokemon.
Yeah. So there was apparently Metroid 2 was on the Game Boy, so that's got to be on there.
Although that got the 3DS remake, but you got to throw it on there because why not?
There's a Castlevania game on here as well. Oh yeah, Mega Man 5. I think I had that. So Mega Man 5 was on there.
Okay.
So I would
they could get Capcom on board for this. Yeah.
I'm just like looking at random lists of Game Boy
games.
This is
good. This is good. This is what we need. It's hard to think of Game Boy games, weirdly enough.
Of course, Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
And then the whole Wario Land series.
Although, only the first one is Game Boy. Let's assume it's also Game Boy Color, I guess, right?
Yeah. We'd have to include that if I was thinking about it.
I think so.
Alright.
So we've named maybe
Dr. Mario.
Oh yeah, a lot of puzzle games on this thing.
Pokemon,
so we're probably up to like a dozen
Pinball,
games.
That'd be a shout out.
Oh yeah, you know what? They totally put that in there, and I think there was a card game too, Pokemon card.
Oh yeah, and it came with a limited edition Pokemon card, like a shiny Meowth or something like that. It was so cool.
I did not get those back in the day. I was like too old for it, I think. But I never got into Pokemon cards because I am obviously loyal to Magic cards. But anyways, I totally lost my point here. Oh, they would throw those in just so they could say there's Pokemon games in it, and just kind of obscure the fact that the real Pokemon games are not on it.
Were the Oracle's games, were they on the Game Boy?
Yeah, those are Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color, so if we're including Game Boy Color for this, which we would do.
Yeah, they are Game Boy Color exclusive.
Yeah,
I was gonna, because remember there are, it's weird, right? Like there were the games that are kind of hybrid that run on both, but like they have added stuff for Game Boy Color. But then there are obviously the exclusive Game Boy Color games too. I think there was also a port, a Game Boy Color port of Super Mario Bros. That I believe added an overworld, and I think also included the Lost Levels possibly.
Oh, wow, nice.
I've never played it.
Nice. There's plenty there to go around.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. Trying to perk up here. Oh yeah, you're totally going to use that for the transition audio, I can tell.
Please. Well, it's my turn. I need to do something stupid, so...
Yeah. Boy, we have filled a lot of time and I haven't even talked about these games yet. Let's blitz through the rest of this news. There's something called Super Mario Bros. 35 that's going to be, I think, like a Tetris 99 thing, but Mario Bros.
That looked fun.
There's Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, which is like you get your little remote control Mario Kart thing, but then you can do something
about that. That looks like the dream toy of us growing up.
Yeah, that is similar to I'm blanking. What is all the cardboard stuff?
For Switch. The thing.
The cardboard stuff.
Yeah, the cardboard.
It's like
things.
that.
Yeah,
where I'm like, I would have loved this as a kid, but I can't. I can only revert so far back. I can't full on become a child. It's just not quite gonna do it for me.
Like put it this way, I can't wait to buy this for my future kids.
Right. Yes, that's where
and
it's
then
fun,
I have an
right?
excuse to play it.
Right, but I don't think I would want to do it on my own. Anyways,
nor do I have the space.
Right, exactly. But I think this is something that I think we're going to see some really cool videos where people get really creative with this.
I can't wait.
All right, yeah, I think that'll be cool.
It looks amazing. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just I can't justify it.
No, yeah, for sure. And then they also announced the original Mario All-Stars was coming out to the SNES Online, I think the day of. So that was nice as well.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, which I assume all those Mario games are on the NES online, but like I don't want to play those. I want to play the All-Stars versions. Like that's just the better way to play it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, anyways, all of that, we finally get around to the Mario 3D All-Stars announcement. And yeah, I picked it up. I haven't played a ton of these yet. And I mean, look, a lot has been said about these games in their original form. I've probably played Mario 64 the most in this collection. And even though there are things to complain about, like it's not widescreen, which is weird because for Sunshine they did add the widescreen.
They like really emphasized that as well. Like, look what we did with Sunshine. We made it widescreen and stuff. And
but
mentioned that,
which just makes you go, why didn't you do it for Mario 64? There's probably some technical limitation to that. I don't know. Maybe but anyways, it is nice to just go through. What's that?
Maybe the engine of it is just a bit awkward to work with.
Yeah, right. Like the sides of the rest of the graphics just wouldn't load or something. Who knows? I don't know. But overall, it is nice to play it this way because the game, I mean, it got that weird DS port, right? But like, there's not, in my mind, there's not a definitive way to play Mario 64. So this is kind of that, I guess. Just with it being cleaned up. And of course, you're playing on a modern system, so you're not having to deal with the issues of N64 controllers. It just looks really nice. Like, the game's graphics have aged really well, I would say, because they kept things so clean and simple. Like, Mario himself doesn't even really appear to have textures. Like, it's just solid block colors,
Yeah.
So it holds up well. Like, there's some issue. The camera's really wonky, but
as the first 3D game that Nintendo put out, right? They did a good job with it.
Oh yeah,
they did a stand-up job with it. Well done, Nintendo.
Yeah, it's only one of the best games of all time.
Yeah.
Mario Sunshine I barely touched so far. I mean, it looks like Sunshine.
That's the thing with these re-releases in higher resolution. They look like you remember them looking.
Yeah.
And then if you actually go back and play, like, oh yeah, has been improved.
Right, because I mean, especially some of these older games, people maybe only played on their old CRTs, yeah. Right? So if you plug your GameCube straight in with the original cables into your modern TV, those games are going to look awful.
They're going to look like poopies.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. Well said. So anyways, I lost my train of thought there again. But anyways, yes, it's like I think that it's easy to underappreciate how much nicer it is to play these games on the Switch, say. But anyways, I don't know. Sunshine is already kind of the weird 3D Mario game, right? It's already the black sheep. And it's still just a little bit weird. It's not quite as intuitive and easy to jump into as most Mario games are. And then Mario Galaxy, I've played it a little bit of that too, and like that game is phenomenal. It's probably my favorite of the bunch. And it's still spectacular. It is a little weird dealing with the star bits. You know, because in the Wii, you pointed at the screen to pick them up. Mm-hmm. And in this, it's like, there's kind of a motion control. I've only played it with the Pro Controller so far, and it's like you're supposed to just kind of wiggle the Pro Controller around to do the motion.
I mean, that's what you
and
did
then you're
with
constantly...
with the Wii Remote anyway, wasn't it? Just like wave it across the screen.
Yeah, but I mean, that feels a lot more intuitive than a controller you have in both hands, right? Rather than a quick flick of the wrist. So it's a little bit weird. And then you're constantly recentering the pointer, you know, because it's never going to be... Yeah, it's not like the old Wiimote with the IR pointer, which is, you know, super precise, of course. This is like the gyro thing that constantly goes off. And like everybody else, my only complaint with the game is no Galaxy 2. Like, it's just so blatantly missing, you know.
Not one of the... Galaxy 2, I just never got around to playing.
I mean, it really does feel like another Mario Galaxy. It's like, here's the same game with new levels, basically.
Yeah, I think by the time Galaxy 2 had come out, I'd just finished Galaxy 1. Like, I got it not long before it. And I'd had my fill of Galaxy. I was like, you know what? I've done Galaxy. I'm finished.
It definitely didn't stay with me the way Galaxy 1 did, I think, because Galaxy 1 was so refreshing, so new and different at the time. It just and really even now going back, it's like, yeah, like you still don't play games where, you know, constantly shooting around to different objects and running all over them and, you know, going like running fully around a sphere. Like, that's not a common thing to do in a video game.
Yeah, it was like that with Odyssey. When I first proved that, I was like, it's the same. Oh, like Nintendo did the thing again. It's like just like a new Mario game that just felt so refreshing from all the games I've been playing recently.
Yeah. So Galaxy 2 lacks that kind of innovation because it is very strictly more of the same from Galaxy 1. Mm-hmm. People are saying, or they're guessing, that Galaxy 2 isn't in this because of... the game did add Yoshi, and I guess Yoshi really heavily relied on the pointer controller. I don't remember well enough, but that sounds right. I don't know.
They tried to go, and you're like, this isn't good.
Yeah, they were probably like, we could probably put a lot of work into this and make this work, but instead we're just going to not bother because this is a cheap, quick...
And it's going to sell anyway, no matter what we do with this.
Like, cost-benefit analysis. We could put work into this, but we'll sell 99% the same either way, so why bother?
And then we'll give people fear of missing out by only having it available until March as well. So
okay, that's my other complaint.
Away.
What
we could make the Mario 64 widescreen, But people are going to buy it anyway, so let's not bother.
The limited edition thing is just bizarre to me. I assume there's more to this. Like, they must be planning to just sell people these piecemeal online after, because why would you do a limited... Why would you... I can appreciate doing, say, a limited run for a physical game, even though this is Nintendo, so there's not much reason. But anyways, why would you ever have a limited digital release? Like, what? Like, what is that?
But that is it. I think it is literally what I said. I think they're doing this. It's a purposeful anti-consumer business move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this isn't. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just really anti-consumer. Like, this
just
is
preying on FOMO.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how can we maximize the number of people to buy it as soon as possible?
Yeah.
Make it a limited release when there's no reason for it not to.
I don't think I've ever heard of a limited digital release before.
Other than, like, at least a planned limited digital release.
Right.
Because there are other games.
Sure, things get taken off stores. Right. Like that I get when, there's rights issues that come up and they're like, okay, we only had the rights for 2 years. It's gone now. Yeah. But this is very strange.
I don't like it.
No.
Part of, that's a reason for me as well to, like, just staying away from it.
Yeah, it's fair. Protest that whole concept.
The one wallet not buying it when they're all sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good protest. Nice. Making a difference.
Well, they're not sold out digitally though.
That's a good point.
But anyways, I assume something is going to happen here. Either they're going to sell these digitally piecemeal, or maybe all of a sudden, hey, here's Galaxy 2 as DLC, and I don't know, they add that to the digital version and give it a new title or something like that.
Or this time next year they do a limited release of Mario Galaxy 2.
Right.
Just that on its own, and they call it 3D All-Stars 2, and it's just Mario Galaxy 2.
Okay, I hate that idea. For OCD wise, for game collecting reasons, I absolutely despise that idea.
No, wait. You see, I've come up with a better idea. It's a limited run release, but only as DLC for if you've already bought 3D All-Stars the previous year.
Mm-hmm. So wait, is it it's a physical release?
I don't. Or does it matter?
It's just digital DLC.
Doesn't
I don't know.
matter.
It's very confusing.
It's a limited release. They just they could do what they want now. Apparently.
That's a concept. Selling DLC for a game that you're not selling the base game for. That seems like bad business.
That's the way it seems to be going. Like, if you're not,
yeah, I don't know.
If you're doing one thing, why not do the other thing? It just makes as much sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain this. Anyways, that's my Mario 3D All-Stars conversation for you.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
No. Yeah, somehow you started sane, and 36 minutes later, you're like, what has happened to me? What's wrong with the world? Okay. Trying to perk up here. Oh, yeah. You're totally going to use that for the transition audio, I can tell.
Yes, please. Well, it's my turn. I need to do something stupid, sir.
Yeah.
I've got a game.
Oh.
To talk about. Well, 2 games.
Okay.
So it's Inside and Littlest Nightmares. Is it called Littlest Nightmares or is it called Little Nightmares? And I have
no idea.
Putting that it's called Little Nightmares. I don't know why I've typed Littlest Nightmares. I don't know what brain space I was in for that.
Wait, is this one game or 2 games?
They're 2 separate games, 2 different people. But from the research that I did like 3 weeks ago, maybe I played it before we recorded the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I say them before we recorded the last episode. And I did a bit of research then. And they came out similar-ish times, maybe within a year of each other. And they're both very heavily inspired by Limbo. Do you remember Limbo?
Okay. Vaguely.
So kind of that hand draw, almost not quite hand drawn, but very stark, gloomy world, like
Right.
excessively gloomy and miserable, and it was all based on a 2D puzzle platformer that you had to get killed brutally in order to figure out the answer to the puzzle. So
yeah, I vaguely remember.
Wander towards this is Limbo. Wander towards a spider, and you'd get stabbed by its legs. Oh, I remember there was a bear trap just before there. That spider's going to stab me. How about when it stabs down, I put a bear trap there, and it takes its legs off.
Right.
For example. But you needed to get stabbed by the spider to know what it did to then be able to solve it. So you're going through the game.
Trial and error.
Yeah, it's basically a trial and error kind of puzzle situation.
Yeah.
Where the failures are very gloomy and grim dark and like overly gory and excessively disgusting, which in that sense, if you're in that kind of headspace for it, makes that kind of fun, that trial and error fun. It's like, oh, how are you going to die next? Like, oh, that's gross. But at the same time can get frustrating, that aspect of it, because you're constantly being told you have to fail before you have to progress, and if you're failing, like, you just don't understand what the progression is. You're failing and failing and failing, and then you just got the same death animation over and over again, and that loses its charm or coolness, and you're just frustrated. So that's the kind of give and take with those kind of trial and error puzzle games. You've got to really make the failure interesting and fun in itself, while making it obvious enough so you're not constantly... Because if you fail, you get sent back. There's no just sitting there looking at it and you got time to think about it. There's like a time limit, and if you don't do it in the time limit, you fail. That's the idea. So I've over-explained how the gameplay mechanics of these games work, but these both are inspired by Limbo. I say inspired. Inside is the same developers of Limbo.
Oh, okay.
And nearly said Littlest Nightmares again.
Yeah.
Is definitely inspired by it, but made by a different team. So I played Little Nightmares first. I bought them both in one of the summer Steam sales, I think, this past year. So I played Little Nightmares first. I knew nothing about these games going into them other than the fact that they're Limbo-likes, and I liked Limbo. So I was playing through it, and it's a 2.5D kind of style. Mm-hmm. But you can move a little bit in 3 dimensions. Yeah, it's like it's a bit more 3D, but you're mostly moving left to right along the screen. But then there's a little bit of back and forth, almost like you're looking through a side view of a diorama kind of thing.
I'm making noises that you're gonna have to edit out later, so I can look at a video here. There we go.
And there is, again, another very grim, dark world. The designs of the bad things that are happening are very eccentric and over the top, and they've clearly put a lot of thought and design into to try and make them creepy. But I got 2 chapters in, and it was getting very, to me, frustrating. It was straying far too into that point of... it being frustrating, and those failure states weren't interesting enough to keep the frustration away. Like, I wasn't wanting to fail to keep having another go at the puzzle.
Sorry, what's the game you were talking about, the sort of predecessor?
Limbo.
Limbo. I mean, it sounded like that kept you going because it was cool to see how you were going to die next. But this is like, you're sick of the deaths. You're like, this is too annoying.
But yeah, even then, the deaths weren't that interesting. You just get grabbed by the monster, and it fades to black.
Okay.
And the threat of the failure state is before you fail. So, for example, something rustling in a pile of rubbish, a la like Star Wars New Hope in the trash compactor, coming out at you as you like try and wade through this pile of garbage, and it's like, but if it gets you, you just kind of like get pulled under, and then it fades to black and you reset. Like, there's no interesting animation there, so the failure state isn't as interesting. That kind of sucked out my enthusiasm to continue. And on top of that, the actual puzzles and the way they had to be solved were really well thought out in the sense that they were organic in the world itself, but the way I was approaching it and playing the game and the way my brain works didn't gel very well with that. So the solution to the puzzle, for example, maybe doesn't look like something or hasn't been something you've been able to pull on to any effect before to get something to happen. But it would happen organically in the world you're looking at. So it's all kind of like nice and seamless, but it wasn't clear enough to me in my brain.
Like just not intuitive, right?
Yeah, it wasn't an intuitive puzzle solving experience for me.
Right.
And I love my puzzles. I'm really into puzzles and things like that. The solutions were simple but not clear.
Right.
So I would overthink them and try and do these really complicated things, and try and repeat stuff I've done previously that the game had almost like taught me to do. And then that wouldn't be the solution. I'd be stuck in a room for ages just as these grabby hands were trying to get me, and I needed to do something else, but I couldn't see what to do because my brain wasn't working.
Yeah. Okay. See, that just seems like bad game design, right? Like generally you want to kind of set things up for the player and then pay them off, right? Like it's supposed to be satisfying to kind of, get some sort of simple lesson early on, and then later on, it comes in again, right?
Yeah, and it was filled with like these kind of gotcha moments where like something would come out of the thing.
Right.
It's like, you're not expected to see it coming, but it was just like a cheap death. And then, now I've got to like wait at this little opening because I know he's going to come out now. And that kind of trial and error also sucks. So all the solutions to the puzzles weren't satisfying when you did get them.
Right.
And the bit that made me rage quit was I couldn't just press a button. I had to throw something at the button. Even though it was like my head size kind of thing. It was my right height. It was like right there. I was pressing it with my little character's hands, but I had to find an object in the room to throw it at it. This that kind of thing.
Like generally just the way physics works, you know what I mean? You can generally push on something harder than you can just throw an object at it, And
I just been mooching around in like previous rooms, dragging stuff around, pushing stuff willy-nilly, like quite seemingly heavy things. I'm like, why can't I just push this button?
Right.
Let me push the button. I know what to do. I need to push this button to turn on the TV to distract the monster, and then he comes in, I can get out the door. But I couldn't press the button.
Yeah.
So that brings me to Inside.
Right.
It's just called Inside. Go on. Yeah.
Let me pull this game video up. This is helping me follow along.
So this is the game that's made by Limbo. I don't know whether it's the next game that they made. I'm sure they've made other games in between because Limbo came out a while ago. And this was 2017, both of these games, if not a little bit sooner in between.
Well, here YouTube has helpfully given me a Markiplier video.
Yeah, so when...
From July 2016.
Okay, so Inside, I think 2016, and then Little Nightmares was 2017. So they came out like within a year of each other. And I meant to play them back then, but time got away from me because I really I really liked Limbo, and I wanted to play these games. So Inside, you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Markiplier is doing a thing.
I
mean, his face is moving, but he's muted. But I can imagine his sexy, sultry voice.
Oh yeah.
Continue.
So Inside. First of all, my overall impressions. I managed to finish the game and stuff. It is one of the best horror games I've played.
Oh, really?
Horror.
So this is a big difference here.
Yeah, in a big difference in terms of my enjoyment levels. I really loved this game. Really did. It took all the really cool things about Limbo and put a cool spin on it. It's just that same kind of gameplay. You've got to do the trial and error puzzles, but a lot of the puzzles, like the death scenarios, were set up in a way that made sense in previous encounters. That half the time I was avoiding death because you can see the threat coming, and from previous experience of dealing with similar threats with a slightly different environment, you can quickly on the fly figure out. And it was like really twitch, like you've got literally a split second to do the right thing, and they've set up, they've designed the level, they had designed the levels in such a way that you could do that if you were paying attention to the context clues on the threat coming at you.
Right.
And when I failed to do that, it was like, oh no, I should have done that. I immediately see it. Like, right. Okay, I needed to wait here a sec, let that threat come at me, and then I could jump over this thing that they can't jump over, so they have to go the long way around, kind of thing. But if you jump over too soon, they immediately go the long way around and catch up to you. Things like that.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with hard games as long as your deaths feel fair.
Mm-hmm. But it organically, it assimilated you into this really dark, truly for me terrifying world. It probably helped that I played inside. I was kind of putting it off because I had a bad time with Little Nightmares and I was worried it might be the same. And there was one night where I just could not get to sleep. So I was like sitting up in bed like 2 a.m, went, screw it, I'm just going to go play a video game. I launched this game up. So it's the dead of night, absolute quiet. I've got the lights turned off. And there's this utterly miserable world that is really terrifying. And there's no like big scary monsters trying to kill you. There's no like giant spider coming at you. It's people. You're a child, and there's people, kind of almost faceless people in like camo gear and things like that, with machine guns and Land Rovers chasing you down, and attack dogs. Mm-hmm. At least to begin with. And
yeah, I saw a dog. I mean, right away I can see like this kid got ate by a dog.
Yeah.
So that's awesome compared to the Fade to Black, right?
I'm getting shivers remembering the feelings this gave me.
Yeah.
Like, just putting myself in this situation, like, oh crap, this is a genuinely terrifying situation. I have no idea what's going on. The kid's clearly trying to run for his life from the get-go, from the way they've animated him and things like that. You feel the threat. That's what it is. You feel the threat in your chest. Mm-hmm. For all these things, and the way they've animated and set up the world design is really cool. And you learn about the world, about this weird dystopian, mind-controlling zombification of the masses. To get them to do manual labor and things like that. It's so, I say dreadful, but like that's because it was filling me with dread. But that was a good thing because it made the game that much more exciting to play.
Right. It's meant to feel dreadful.
Yeah. It's the first time I've used the word dreadful in like a positive way.
Right. Well, but I get it for sure though. Like it's properly playing into the horror, let's say, or suspense elements.
Mm-hmm. And there was no jump scares. There was one bit that made me jump, but it wasn't really played off as a jump scare. And it's an underwater bit. And it's just come up to you've just been playing just like kind of quite standard, nice little puzzle physics platformy based elements for the past sort of 10 minutes. You've had like quite a chill. You feel like you've gotten away from a lot of the threats, like the dogs running in. They do come back later, of course. But you feel like you kind of had a bit of a respite from them. And then you start to go underwater in this submersible. And then you just hear these like underwater noises that are just like not quite right. And it builds up this dread. And all of a sudden, just like kind of like Alien, something goes across the screen in front of you really quick, and it's like, Jesus Christ, what the frick was that?
Right. Well, that's awesome though too, because that's almost a jump scare, but at the same time, going across the screen isn't going to kill you. Like, that's still setting up the threat, right?
Mm-hmm. And then that thing didn't pop back in until like another 10 minutes later.
Right. See, that's spectacular.
And then it's
that's
like
properly setting this
for that
up.
10 minutes, I was like wetting myself. 3 o'clock in the morning now.
That's fantastic.
Waiting for this thing to come back, because they've shown it to me, so it's gonna come back, and I know it's gonna come back, and it wasn't coming back. And then when it does, I was just like absolutely terrified of this thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, the tension builds and builds and builds. That's spectacular.
It's one of the best horror games I've ever played. and barely a jump scare to be seen.
Yeah, like just watching the two videos, like it's really obvious, I would say. Like, sorry, I almost called it Limbo. Inside, it really just seems like, you know, you see the threats coming, and like there's some real tension all the time. It looks like the other game, it just seemed like you're bumbling around in the dark.
Yeah,
it just seemed annoying. Yeah,
that was my kind of feeling. Little Nightmares was very annoying and frustrating.
Okay, trying to perk up here. Oh yeah, you're totally gonna use that for the transition audio. I can tell.
Yes, please. Well, it's my turn. I need to do something stupid, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Is there something, Newbs, that you would like to talk about?
Boy, I have a big thing.
Ooh,
actually.
Go for it.
Hopefully we have time for this. So this is not technically a video game. Mm-hmm. Although in my mind it takes place in it's almost like a real world. It's a gamification of the real world, let's say. I'm sure you are very familiar, of course, with collect-a-thon games. Mm-hmm. You know, you love your Donkey Kong 64.
I do like my
your Banjo-Kazooie.
I do like my Banjo-Kazooie.
You know, so...
I do like my insert other collect-a-thon game here.
Right. Even though I'm not a huge fan of those games, I am a fan of collecting in real life. And especially in the pandemic era here, I've gotten really into collecting Magic cards, which is maybe a bit of a stand-in for playing Magic, because I don't have a lot of opportunities to play, at least in real life these days.
Yeah.
So... so I've been playing Magic since I was a kid, pretty early on in the game's life, actually. But and so I always had cards, and over time, you know, I just get more and more and more, either incidentally or you know, like buy a pack here or there, or I would go online and order a whole bunch of cards, right? Like, oh, I want to use this in a deck, this and that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But it was never really about the collecting. It was always like buying cards in order to use them in decks. But over the last while, it's become more and more like, let's like make some goals and actually try to collect, you know, one of each card from a set, right? Complete sets of cards. I should also say that like in Magic, there's a 4 of limit in decks. Like you can't have more than 4 copies of a card in a deck. Okay. So there's the concept of kind of a play set of cards is 4 cards. So typically if I was ordering cards online, provided they were cheaper cards, which they usually are, because I never played competitively, it was always just casually, I'd usually order 4 of them just to have 4 of them in case for some reason I needed all 4, right?
You know, you might need, you never know.
You never know. But anyways, over the years, the collection has grown and grown and grown. And for a long time, I organized my cards by color. There's 5 colors in Magic. Mm-hmm. And then at some point I switched over to organizing them by set. Typically in Magic's history, they've done, well, approximately 3 expansion sets a year plus like a core set, and then as well as all kinds of supplementary products too. Anyways, so I started just organizing these by set. And that time I think I also expanded for many years. I just kept all my cards in binders with the, like, you know, the pages that you can buy. It's like 9 slots in a page. You put the pages in your binder. And I would typically just jam all 4 copies of card into a slot, right? Which is maybe not ideal.
Used to do that with Pokemon cards as well.
Yeah.
And then we'd get so many dupes of one thing that pocket would break.
Yeah, exactly. It would stretch and whatever. I kept mine generally to 4. I don't think I've ever had any fully break, but like it's like, this is not good for this. I know that. You know, if I ever want to change what's in this pocket, if it's 2 of instead of 5 of, that's going to be a problem. You know, it's going to be falling out. But anyways, yes. So this year I've gotten into actually collecting the sets, and I started out by buying. Well, I guess they still call them binders. Technically, they're not. They're like portfolios. It's like, you know, it's a cover and then the built-in pages, right? And instead of just clear pages, they are have clear pockets, but with like a black kind of fabric backing.
Okay.
And so, you put the cards in there. You put the cards in there sleeved, actually. They're designed to have the cards sleeved when they go in. And it just makes like a really nice presentation when you fill up the pages.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So originally my original plan was I was going to collect all of the white border sets. This is another old school Magic thing where back in the day, original printings of cards would be black bordered, and then they would reprint cards in the core sets, and they would be white bordered to signify they were reprints.
Okay.
Anyways, at some point they were like, white border cards are ugly, everybody hates them. From now on, everything's going to be black border, right? But so there's kind of an old school relation to the white border, I guess. I just kind of like the look. I like the fact that it's unpopular, I think.
So kind of like Waluigi, how he got popular.
Right, it's like almost ironically popular, at least to me personally. But you know what? No surprise, like very quickly, this project just kept growing and growing, where it was like, actually, let's just collect some of the older sets, like the oldest expansion sets, as well as the white border reprint sets. And I have not completed any sets, by the way. And the prices, I should say, like, I'm just going on to, Magic sites where you order singles, right? And initially when I was planning this as well, I was like, I don't want to do that. That's too easy. But at this point, I'm realizing actually even that is a lot of work. Because, you only have so many, like, kind of favorite, the top, the best sites, the sites you kind of trust to order from. They're not going to have all these old, weird, and generally quite bad cards in stock.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work, actually, just kind of go through the book, look, see what cards you're still missing, see what they actually have in stock this time, so you put in another order.
Do you have like a mega spreadsheet somewhere of all the cards you're missing and things like that?
I mean, I thought about doing that, but I found it's more fun to actually just flip through the physical books that I'm filling in.
More excuse to look at your cards, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Actually appreciate what I'm collecting, because it'd be very easy. Yeah, it'd be very easy to, like, buy these cards and never look at them again.
Just to know you own them.
Yeah. So definitely a big part of the fun is seeing what I have in front of me, seeing what I can buy, and kind of imagining, like, filling in all these holes. Which sounds terrible. Yeah, anyways. So I've been slowly working on all of this. The other thing, of course, with these cards is the prices vary wildly, right? Like, for most of these sets, old or new, you could buy typically all of the commons and uncommons for very little money, right? Commons are often between 15 and 25 cents each. And there's usually, let's say, about 350 cards in a set. Sometimes less. Almost never more. But then, of course, there's always, like, the handful of rares that became, big tournament staples, cards that are highly sought after. And like, for more modern sets, that might not be too much. Like, I don't want to pay $50 for a card, but it's like, okay, that's within reach. But, you go back and it's like, oh, wait a second. All of the rares in this set cost $10 and up. And also the top ones cost several $100,
Wow.
So and some sets, by the way, are much easier on the wallet than others. Some sets are kind of famously very bad from back in the day. And those are like, okay, every one of these cards is 15 cents. And then there's like 4 cards that are 50 cents or $1 each. It's like, okay, we could take care of this pretty quickly, right? But, so I'm definitely pacing myself and just kind of filling up the books a little bit at a time. And of course I order the cards alphabetically, but by color as well. So like, it's like, okay, let's just try to fill in 2 pages of white, 2 pages of blue, 2 pages of black, etc. And even that just looks nice, right? You open it up and it's like, you get a view of 2 pages and you're looking at a full 2 pages of blue cards or whatever. It looks great.
Very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. and then I just kind of tent my fingers and appreciate it. Just enjoy the OCD-ness of it all, I guess.
Caress the packages gently.
Yeah, and then it doesn't take long before I'm like, yes, but it could be even better. Let's order more cards. And then very quickly it goes, well, how about we also collect this set and this set and this set?
This reminds me of have you seen Emperor's New Groove?
Yeah.
The when Kronk has the angel and devil on his shoulders,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like arguing back and forth, and the devil's just constantly like, yeah, but he's wearing a dress. And have you seen what I can do? And then there's like a handstand press up.
Mm.
And Kronk's just like, but what's that got to do with anything? And the angel's like, no, wait. He's got a point. I feel like that's kind of things going on in your mind. It's like, but I could do this,
but there could be more.
It could be better.
Could always be better.
And then
there's also been...
Yeah, go on.
What's that?
No, never mind.
I think I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry.
Oh, I know. I'm constantly just changing my mind on like what sleeves to use. Because I have all these leftover sleeves because decks are typically 60 cards, but you often buy the cards in 80 or 100. So then I have tons of these leftover sleeves that I've been using up on doing this collection stuff. But then it's like, well, actually, maybe let's put these cards in these sleeves, even though all the cards go in the binder anyway. So what does it matter what the sleeves are? But, I keep changing my mind.
More excuse to look at your cards.
Yeah, exactly.
What else are there for,
So, yeah, that is just a brief introduction to my insane world of magic set collecting, which I think is slowly spiraling out of control and taking over my life. So,
No,
I guess watch out for future updates on all of that.
You're in control, Newbs.
You're
doing it because it makes you happy.
Okay, see, that's good. I need to tell myself I should put those print those words out and put them up in my office wall to remind me of that fact.
It's a choice. They make you happy.
Yeah, okay.
They don't control you, Noobs.
I don't know. The way you're saying that makes it sound like some kind of weird chant, and maybe they do control me.
Out of interest, because I collected Pokemon cards for a little bit. As in, like, I'm trying to figure out what the crossover is. One annoying thing I used to find with Pokemon cards is that they would say there'd be in this set 100 or so cards, but then there'd be some secret rare cards, and there's actually, instead of 120, there's 130 because there's 10 secret rare cards. Do they do that? No, I mean there are different rarities, and quite a few years ago now they always had common, uncommon, rare, or I shouldn't say always. For most of the game's history, they had common, uncommon, rare. And then more recently, they added mythic, which is more rare than rare. The more rarer.
Right. And then also, there's a certain probability that you'll open a foil in each pack. And the foils can be any of the regular cards that appear, but in foil. And even more recently, they've even been adding like other alternate art and like different frame styles and all of this, but none of it's secret. All of it is announced in advance. All of it's compiled by obsessive fans, even beyond what the info they provide. But it's all out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no attempt at secrecy. I think very, very early on, they did want some degree of secrecy, and they tried not. I think there was an idea very early on that like players might not know what they might encounter out there, or they might not know how rare a certain card is, but like very quickly the internet became a thing, and they just went, okay, never mind. We can't, there's no secrecy here. We have to just give everybody all the information. Like
everyone's going to figure out sooner or later, or we just can just give it to them.
Right. Like they're all piecing it together online anyways. Why don't we just tell them?
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, because I never found out about the Pokemon secret rare cards until I got one. And it was because in the bottom corner they have like the number of that card is in the set out of the maximum number. So like something out of 120. And then I got one which is 122 out of 120 or something like that. I was like, what? So I had to Google it. I was like, what is this? And apparently there are more than this. So that kind of like almost was the turning point where I stopped collecting Pokemon cards. Because like,
right.
I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah,
120 was more than enough.
Right. Like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
This is just upsetting.
Yeah.
So how do you, I mean, then you just have to look up to know when you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in my head, it was almost like an achievable goal. As soon as I learned those existed, it suddenly became unachievable and I lost all enthusiasm for collecting the Pokemon cards. Not all enthusiasm, I still like collecting them, but I haven't bought any more since I actually, not long after I learned that fact.
Yeah, thankfully this is not a thing with Magic. They do go over the set number, because they do a similar thing actually where they say, number out of 350 or whatever, and then but that more recently they've started doing a lot of cards that just don't appear in the boosters because they only appear in certain supplemental things. Like, okay, we need this really basic card in this set, but let's not put it in the booster packs. Let's just like put it in the supplemental product, and then it gets a number beyond 350. But again, it's not a secret.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good place to wrap it up, actually.
Oh.
I know I really wanted to talk about one of the games I've been playing this week, but we've not. I'm playing it multiplayer with my girlfriend, so I've not actually finished it yet. So I'll definitely be playing it more. So
for sure.
As for things that we're looking forward to in the future, I'm looking forward to playing more of that because it's a game series I really like. Orcs Must Die.
I don't think you've said what. Oh, sorry. There you go. You just said it.
So yeah, Orcs Must Die is a game series we've loved playing co-op for a good many years. And Orcs Must Die 3 snuck out. I'll tell the full story next time about all that, but just know that it's a Google Stadia exclusive, if you're aware of Google Stadia.
I don't know what that is, actually.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you about it next time if you don't learn about it.
Okay. Yeah.
And all the ups and downs we've been having with that game. So I've been having fun with that, so I'm looking forward to playing more of that. I'm also looking forward to playing more of Link Between Worlds that I started playing this week.
That's exciting.
So rubbing my hands together, we've got more episodes of Zelda coming up. I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Full Zelda-long discussion episodes.
There's a lot of Zelda in this podcast, so I think we chose the name well. And then for me, a lot more Mario 3D All-Stars, because I feel like I've barely started. And really, it's 3 games at once, which, why am I going about this where I'm playing a little bit of each? I don't know. Like, that just seems like a way to make it all last 3 times as long as it should. I am looking forward to... Nintendo also just announced Donkey Kong Country 2 is coming to the Switch Online service.
Oh, great.
So I'll probably play that. And you know what? I'm pretty sure there's going to be some more Magic cards coming. I don't know how much I'll need to talk about it, but I feel like that's a developing story.
Man, if you need to talk about it, you go talk about it. This is our space. That's our safe space to talk about the things we want to talk about.
I mean, you know what? I'm not convinced it is a safe space. You were telling me about the leeches you've been battling, so it doesn't sound very safe.
It's a safe mental space.
And also, all that moisture cannot be good for Magic cards.
Well, thank goodness you've put them in those plastic wallets, right?
Yes, that's right. Sleeved and then into the binder, double safe.
And then cling film wrapped around them.
Right? Yeah, I would need to, wouldn't I? Good point.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for coming and chatting with me, Newbs. Well, turning around in the well. Where can people find more of things that they can listen to you talk about things, Newbs?
Oh, good question. Well, in theory, they can go to YouTube and find me under Newbs, Newbs. The link to my channel is in the video description.
It should be.
I hope so.
I'm Burrhe in everything, so YouTube, Twitch, BURRHE. I'm still doing the Smash Bros tournament streams.
Nice.
It's nice. It's fun. It's like a nice chat with our local Smash community. just chatting about things. Pop in if you want to say hi. This week, at least the latest one that's after recording, so I'll be way in the past when you guys are listening to this. We're doing like a North versus South, because I'm from North England. We're doing like the North versus the South, so we're going to get destroyed because the South is way better at Smash Bros.
People make fun of the North, don't they?
Yeah, so that's not going to end well, but it's going to be fun. So.
Okay, interesting, exciting.
And we'll do more of them, I'm sure, so tune in at some point to Twitch.
Awesome.
Alright, take care everyone.
Alright, bye, thanks for listening.